More than 4 months after the Krell Canyon fire, 2 suspects accused of setting the blaze appear in court. What the judge had to say. Plus,
plastic bags in grocery stores may soon be no more in Malibu. The latest on the battle to ban the bags. Newswaves 26 starts now. Good evening, I'm Michael French.
And I'm Tiffany Murphy, and she's Sarah Wing with a first look at your weather.
Thanks, Tiffany. It is yet another gorgeous day here in Malibu. Partly sunny skies pattern the views up for the coast with a very nice view overlooking the Pepperdine baseball field, as you can see here. Outside, you can see about 9 miles, and as for the temperature, we rest comfortably at 58 degrees, which feels a bit more like 65 degrees. The crisp and fresh air you feel outside is not just because of the rainfall we had yesterday, but also we've had a light northwest wind hitting Malibu at 11 miles per hour. Humidity is at 64% and dew point is at 46 degrees. Should we expect more rain? I'll have your extended forecast coming up. Michael and Tiffany.
Arraignment for 2 of the 5 young men charged with setting one of the worst fires in Malibu history has once again been postponed tonight. Eric Matthew Ullman and Dean Allen Lavarante were charged with setting the November 24th Coral Canyon fire that chewed through 53 homes in Malibu. The fire was first reported in an area of Coral Canyon known as the Cave. It's an area notorious for late-night parties. Arraignment is now set for May 16th in Van Nuys. If convicted, the suspects could face life in prison.
And we're not the same FEMA of 2005. That's the word from the head of the Disaster Preparedness Agency. FEMA Chief David Paulson went before some skeptical senators today. Paulson says the agency is now better prepared to respond to a major hurricane.
Is making a good faith effort to address the many challenges associated with the development and execution of initiatives to better prepare itself for the next Katrina-like disaster.
Last year, FEMA responded to 63 major disasters, including the Southern California wildfires. Paulson does agree, however, that the law governing federal responses to disasters still does need some fixing.
One day after United Airlines grounded a fleet of planes and canceled dozens of flights, Federal Aviation Administration officials are in the hot seat on Capitol Hill. Kelly Nolan is live in the newsroom with more. Kelly?
That's right, Michael. Southwest is one of 5 airlines that have had to recently ground hundreds of airplanes due to missed inspections and other safety issues. Now, this issue is coming to the forefront now because the House of Representatives Transportation Committee will be meeting with the FAA to discuss 2 of the FAA's inspectors' issues that they have been raised about these airline inspections.
That an FAA inspector has to become a whistleblower in order to do his job. And the job is that we were hired by the taxpayers to ensure that the airlines provide safe transportation for the flying public.
Bobby Boutros is one of 2 Federal Aviation Administration inspectors calling out the nation's air safety watchdog. The whistleblower said Southwest Airlines flew dozens of planes that had not undergone mandatory safety inspections. According to documents from a House committee investigation, the men said FAA managers knew and did nothing about it.
Bobby and I were not happy with the state of Southwest Airlines' maintenance program. We weren't happy, and we saw that the airline was at risk due to the lax oversight. And because of this, we just weren't willing to accept anything less than sweeping change.
Southwest Public Relations Vice President would not comment on the inspector's allegations, saying that any questions would be addressed by the company's chairman and CEO during testimony today before a House panel now looking into the matter. The FAA could not be reached for a response. The allegations by the whistleblower spurred an FAA audit. The acting administrator said the first phase of the investigation shows 99% compliance by airlines with airworthiness directives.
The special audit that began on March 13th showed us that the system we have in place is effective.
Improvements will be made, namely a new reporting system so that employees can raise concerns that they're having. Live in the newsroom, I'm Kelly Noland. Back to you.
Thanks, Kelly. Only a few days left before Malibu residents head to the polls, and tonight there's one more chance to get to know those candidates. It's a historic race for Malibu. After the votes are counted, at least 2 fresh faces will be added to the City Council. Now you can watch the candidate forum tonight on Channel 15. Malibu residents will also vote on a measure that would decrease the city telephone utility tax. The polls open at 7 in the morning on Tuesday and close at 8 p.m.
If the governor gets his way, our schools may look a lot different next year. Tonight, members of the Santa Monica Malibu Unified School District are anxiously awaiting a vote that could change everything. The Board of Education is set to vote on proposed budget cuts for the 2008-2009 school year. The district must trim $2.5 million from its budget, which could result in the loss of 45 staff positions. Declining enrollment cited as the biggest reason for the cuts. The Las Virgenes School District is also feeling the sting. The district is preparing for even more cuts after a string of layoffs. At least 20 staff members have received layoff warnings, including 4 full-time librarians and elementary school counselors. It's all part of Governor Schwarzenegger's proposal to cut $4.8 billion in educational funding. Letter writing campaigns are underway to save the positions.
Paper or plastic? You may never be asked this question again at the grocery store. That's because Malibu is continuing to push for keeping life in the city as green as they can. In 2005, the city was one of the first to ban styrofoam containers, and now they're turning to plastic. Pacific Coast Greens is starting a new trend. They made the switch from plastic to paper about 6 months ago. Manager Victor Grenner says the store wanted to be on the cutting edge.
We decided that now's the time. We had to make a statement. We wanted to be really on the cutting edge, ahead of the group. Before, someone came to us and said we were going to have to stop, we decided we needed to stop ourselves.
Renner is an avid kayaker. He says he was walking on the beach one day and realized his bags were ending up here.
And one of the things that I see all the time are plastic bags, the white plastic bags everywhere. And I kept thinking, these are where my bags are going.
Malibu's environmental program director says residents should recycle because it's the right thing to do.
That it's really community responsibility to just not create the waste in the first place. Bring your own bags to the store. You don't need to have a bag that has a expected life of 30 minutes.
Some Malibu residents are in support of becoming more green, but they have mixed feelings on how the city is going about it.
I wish that people were environmental enough to choose that on their own without it having to be a law. It seems like a lot to make that a law in a democratic society.
Grenner says since the switch from plastic to paper, the store is using more paper bags than ever.
Probably use more bags than using the plastic ones, but I think the trade-off is still, there is no trade-off. It makes a lot more sense going to the paper.
And right now we're in the 30-day review period. The City Council is using this time to talk with Malibu business owners and residents about the proposed ban. If you'd like to submit a comment, you can do so via email at hly@clmalibu.ca.us. The Malibu City Council will vote on the ban during their May City Council meeting.
With the second quarter underway, the stock market continuing to hold strong, but just barely. Wall Street ending today's session slightly above water. The Dow is up 20 points. The S&P index is up 2 points, and the Nasdaq also added 2 points.
As stocks finished with narrow gains in New York, the main focus today was on Capitol Hill. The Senate Banking Committee tossed questions at the key players in the J.P. Morgan Chase rescue of Bear Stearns. A free market generally relies on the concept of company succeeding and falling on its own. However, Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke said the Federal Reserve took exception with Bear Stearns because of the many ties the investment company has to the overall economy. Bernanke says the move presented a major upset.
The numbers are in.
How much money your city council candidates have raised for their campaigns, plus
North versus South, why North Korea is saying the peninsula is at the brink of war.